Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're joining us today because we are jumping straight into a truly fascinating journey. We're going to be looking at the invisible forces that are actively and constantly shaping our daily lives. You know, we spend so much time staring into our screens, but today we're flipping that around. We are going to look at what is looking back at us. This Explainer is all about the algorithmic mirror. We're breaking down how modern predictive technology is fundamentally interacting with the human soul.
So I want you to really think about this question. What actually happens when machines know us better than we know ourselves? Just let that sink in for a second. Because when a piece of technology crosses that specific threshold, the fundamental balance of power between humans and machines completely shifts. We aren't just talking about, a faster calculator or a slightly better search engine anymore. We're talking about a profound, systemic change in the basic human experience.
Okay, let's dive into exactly how this works, because this isn't some distant science fiction. This is the reality living in your pocket right now. Modern AI systems are already analyzing an incredibly intimate data set. I mean, sure, they track your search behavior and those late-night impulse purchases. We all know that. But they're also tracking your daily movement patterns, your facial expressions, the literal physical rhythm of how you type on your glass screen. They're looking at your social interactions, your political preferences, and exactly how you react emotionally to different types of content. They are literally building a digital replica of your inner life. And honestly, they probably know your habits better than your therapist does.
Section 1, Prediction becomes influence.
The absolutely crucial transition we're living through right now is moving from a system that merely collects data to one that actively drives human behavior. Think about it. For decades, we had what you'd call responsive technology. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. It's a tool that listens. Simple, right? But now we are fully moving into the era of behaviorally directive technology. Because if a machine can accurately predict what you'll buy, who you'll trust, what's going to make you angry, or exactly when you feel the most vulnerable, well, it can also shape those outcomes. The technology stops just responding to you and actually starts commanding the environment to direct your behavior.
And the wild thing is, this influence is already happening, and it's becoming increasingly invisible to us. Algorithms are right now influencing what people watch, the exact news stories they encounter, who they choose to date, the opinions that get constantly reinforced in their own minds, and ultimately, what emotions dominate their daily attention. As these predictive systems get better and better, you won't even feel the nudge. It's just going to feel like your own natural choice.
Which brings us to Section 2, Questioning Our Free Will.
We are stepping right into this uncanny valley where our very sense of independent, autonomous choice is being deeply challenged. And it happens in this really logical, almost sneaky escalation. Step 1 is hyperpersonalization. And look, this feels great at first. Perfectly tailored entertainment, predictive healthcare, extraordinary, seamless convenience, but that seamlessly slides right into Step 2, emotional targeting. The more emotionally intelligent these machines become, the more persuasive they are. A machine that understands your loneliness, your insecurity, or your anger can strategically target those specific states. Which leads us straight to Step 3, psychological control. This is where those emotional triggers and cognitive biases are exploited to shape social behavior, intensify addictions, and manipulate choices purely for profit or control. That initial convenience basically transforms into a cage.
I really want you to consider this quote. Over time, systems may detect fears before people articulate them, desires before they consciously recognize them. Just think about the weight of that. If machines can consistently predict your choices with high accuracy based on patterns completely invisible to you, it profoundly complicates our whole understanding of autonomy. It forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Are my preferences actually authentic, or have they been conditioned?
Section 3, Algorithmically Constructed Identities.
Historically, we've discovered who we are through this incredibly messy process. It takes struggle, reflection, mistakes, real-world relationships. But looking into this algorithmic mirror, we have to ask, are we still discovering ourselves, or are we simply being optimized into predictable identities? AI recommendation systems are increasingly shaping our tastes, our beliefs, our social circles, and even our moral narratives. If everything you see is curated by an algorithm designed solely to keep you engaged, who is really in the driver's seat of your personality?
And this creates a massive reinforcement loop. Because if algorithms continuously feed you only what aligns with your past behavior, your individuality naturally starts to narrow. You lose that chance for random intellectual exploration. You lose ideological diversity. The beautiful, chaotic process of personal transformation just gets flattened out. It turns into this predictable, optimized loop of things you already agree with. Kind of like, a weird sudden obsession with 90s ambient music that you didn't even know you had until the algorithm fed it to you.
Section 4. Emotional dependency on machines.
As we move from analyzing the mind to looking at the human heart, we have to face the growing reality of emotional dependency and artificial companionship. Think about it. Real human intimacy. It requires compromise, incredible vulnerability, patience, mutual sacrifice. It is, by definition, messy and unpredictable. Now contrast that with artificial relationships. They offer constant availability, totally non-judgmental validation, and perfect emotional mirroring. Artificial companionship essentially bypasses all the friction of real life. And the risk here isn't just that people will get attached to machines. The real risk is that humans might begin actually preferring this smooth, controllable, artificial ease over the beautiful, messy unpredictability of real human connection.
This leads us right into Section 5, the concentration of power. So we have to ask the ultimate macro question here. Who is actually on the other side of this glass? If machines deeply understand human psychology, then the organizations that own and control these models hold unprecedented influence. We are looking at what is perhaps the greatest concentration of power in human history. And it's not just economic power. We're talking about informational power, behavioral power, cultural power, and ultimately, raw political power.
The future struggles of humanity aren't just going to be about physical territory or natural resources like in the past. The new battleground is literally the cognitive territory of the human mind. The ultimate power belongs to whoever controls attention, whoever shapes perception, and whoever can model human behavior at a massive global scale.
Section 6. Redefining human wisdom.
In a world where machines possess virtually infinite data and immense predictive capabilities, our core value as humans has to shift away from just raw knowledge, because knowing facts is entirely different from understanding meaning. Machines can be, and absolutely will be, extraordinarily intelligent, but they cannot be wise. Moving forward, the absolute most important human capacities will be ethical judgment, self-awareness, emotional maturity, philosophical reasoning, spiritual depth, and moral courage. These are the traits that simply cannot be optimized by a predictive model. They are uniquely ours.
So we are constantly walking this incredibly fine tightrope between two extremes. On one side, you have the promise. A machine that knows humanity this deeply could do wonders. It could heal psychological suffering, personalize education to fit every single child perfectly, and dramatically improve human life across the board. But on the exact same coin, we face the peril. That exact same capability could be used to manipulate entire populations, engineer political consent, commercialize our identities, and fundamentally weaken human autonomy. The stakes for our technological future are absolutely massive.
Which leaves us with one defining existential question to wrap up on. Will machines help humans understand themselves more deeply? Or will they gradually replace the human process of self-understanding altogether? Next time you're scrolling on your phone, next time an app suggests what you should watch or who you should talk to, just take a second and ask yourself who is really making the choice. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep thinking critically out there, and I'll see you next time.